Gandhi, who lived for peace and not violence.
Freaks and geeks, brothers and sisters around the world, I just watched one of the most brilliant conspiratorial documentaries I've ever seen. What the Health? Sequel to Cowspiracy, and I would say that it is in every way just as brilliant as Cowspiracy, if not better. And I know there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be very defensive in regards to their food choices. I mean, there's a natural instinct whenever we're dealing with food to be very defensive. Don't tell me what I can eat. I'll eat whatever I want. This is wrong. Obviously, we have confirmation bias. I know a lot of the paleo supporters are going to be very against this documentary. And of course, they're going to be the diplomats that try to make the argument that, you know, you just got to be a little bit more careful as to what you eat, man. All things in moderation, man. I mean, everything obviously can be bad for you. So you kind of just have to have a bit of this, bit of that. And look, regardless of whether you are a paleo supporter, whether you are vegan, whether you are a diplomatic eater, one of the beautiful things that is covered in this documentary, in What the Health, is the question I think is on so many people's minds. So many people that have heard a lot of these messages from the vegetarians and vegans out there. Look, why don't I know about the consequences of this food if it's so true, if it's so definitively clear, as many of these vegan hippies are saying, then why don't I know about it? And the answer is very beautifully nefarious. And I'm going to show you the answer through this video.
Came together. What if? And there it was. The American Diabetes Association was taking money from Dannon, one of the world's largest dairy yogurt producers, Kraft Foods, makers of Velveeta processed cheese, Oscar Mayer processed meats, Lunchables processed kids meals, and Bumblebee Foods, makers of processed canned meats. American Cancer Society was taking money from Tyson, one of the world's largest meat producers, and Yum Brand, owner of Pizza Hut, KFC, and Taco Bell. Susan G. Komen was supposed to be fighting breast cancer, was corporate partnering with KFC, Dietz Watson Processed Meats, and YoPlay Yogurt.
And the list goes on and on and on and on and on. And understandably,
taking hundreds of thousands of dollars from the beef industry, poultry, and dairy
understandably, most people wouldn't want to know this, so most people only want to hear about it.
Manufacturers.
But that is the unassailable, unambiguous truth. Regardless of any issue that you want to deal with, whether or not we're talking about global warming, whether or not we're talking about a conspiracy theory that has some semblance of truth, there will always be different opinions. There will always be proponents that will tell you it's complete nonsense and proponents that will tell you that it is complete fact. But when you realize the tremendous bias, particularly in regards to the issue of what diet is the best, vegan diet, paleo diet, etc., when you realize that so many of these organizations, such as the American Heart Foundation, etc., so many of these organizations are taking ridiculous amounts of money from the meat and dairy industry, from these industries that have an invested interest, as you would understand, in having their food sold. And we're not talking about small chump change over here like millions or billions. We're talking about trillions and trillions of dollars over here. It is a massive, massive business. And I would say it is the greatest conspiracy. When you think about the amount of money that goes into pharmaceutical drugs, that goes into food, it is the biggest industry. This is why so many of these organizations, such as the Heart Foundation, they don't talk about this openly. And despite all of the scientific peer-reviewed evidence supporting how so many of these diets are detrimental towards your health, and the ridiculous idea that they're actually good for you, foods like meat, animal products, it pales as an argument to the truth of these organizations such as Kraft, Mars, General Mills, Nestle, supporting these organizations that would perpetuate this ridiculous, fallacious fact that these animal-based products are good for you. So look, that's one of the things that I think is covered so brilliantly in What the Health. And some other things I think they did a great job doing was proving to you how anyone can live off a plant-based diet. A lot of people would make the argument that not everyone can be healthy on a plant-based diet, on a vegan diet. But look, what about people that have a different blood type? One of the doctors explained this so brilliantly well that argument is akin to someone saying that, look, depending on what star sign you are, they may not be compatible with you and they won't be able to have a successful friendship with someone. He made some argument to that effect. That the argument that depending on your blood type, plant-based diet may or may not be good for you, it is devoid of any scientific reasoning in regards to our current scientific understanding anyway. But I think the easier thing to see are so many of the high-performing athletes. I want to show you a video over here of so many of the successful athletes that are on this type of diet and are thriving. Not just surviving. I know a lot of people say, yeah, of course you can be on a vegan, vegetarian diet. Sure. But in order to achieve the highest level of physical excellence, you need to be eating meat. This is the popular argument that a lot of the paleo people, the Joe Roganites, like to advocate for. But when you see people like Timothy Sheath, let's watch this video.
Their performance.
Before I was vegan, I was only bench pressing 315
David Carter.
5 times. Then after going vegan, I was doing 400, 425, 465. And I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm vegan and I'm bench pressing 465 pounds. This is ridiculous. And as soon as I went vegan, tendonitis started disappearing. My strength in my right arm started coming back. High blood pressure was going down. You can't be strong and be dying on the inside. That's not strong. That's
Silly
weak.
words.
That's really weak because you look big and strong on the outside. Yeah, big man. No, but your heart's crying for help on the inside. You're dying.
I'm a professional parkour athlete, a 2-time world freerunning champion, and more recently I got into Ninja Warrior where I'm captain of Team Europe as we won USA vs the world. For something like Ninja Warrior and parkour specifically, you really need to have a good strength to body weight ratio. So I was carrying mass that I really didn't need. And when I went vegan, I lost 15, 20 pounds. I was more agile, I was more efficient, more stamina in my body. Just that extra bit of pop that I didn't have before, it just gave me that extra strength. So this is a very vibrant way to live. It can enhance you as an athlete. For me, 100% better athlete than I was before. It unlocked a whole new chapter of my training. The science is there, the health is there, the athletes are there proving that you don't need to eat dead animals to be strong, to be healthy.
I started working out when I was 47 years old. All the muscles you see, I gained as vegan. I gained 15 pounds of muscles on my body, eating all plant-based vegan foods. All the aches and pains in my body, it just went away. Because I'm not ingesting so many inflaming foods, the acidic foods that animal products are. Gorillas, rhinos, and elephants, they all get their muscles and strength from eating plants.
That's a powerful argument there. You have a look at all the biggest animals, all the biggest land animals on this planet, and they're all plant-based animals. So the gorilla, the elephant, the hippopotamus. For some reason, with human beings, we want to think that, oh no, we must eat meat in order to be big and strong. Well, when you compare our physiology to those of herbivorous animals, it's very clear to see that we do not have the physiology to allow us to kill our food with our bare hands, that would allow us to digest this food. Human beings have a longer intestinal tract. You find carnivorous animals, they have a shorter intestinal tract because they need to excrete the carnivorous foods or the meat from their intestinal tracts as soon as possible. Otherwise, it festers in your intestines and causes many diseases. And you find herbivorous animals, they have longer intestinal tracts because they obviously can't get rid of that as fast. So it makes a lot more sense to be having plant-based foods as opposed to meat-based foods that will fester in these tracts. But look, one of the beautiful things about this documentary, What the Health, is it attacks this thing from so many levels. Obviously, the nutritional level, you have so many of the best doctors advocating for plant-based diet, showing you the insanity, so many of the detrimental effects of consuming animal products. It looks at this also, which I found beautiful, which is carrying along from the same theme as cowspiracy. It's not just about me perspective that a lot of people have, that, wait a sec, look, health is a personal choice. If I want to fucking eat meat, it's my choice. Absolutely. But if you're looking at this from a larger perspective, realizing that your food choices, well, first of all, that someone obviously has to suffer in order for you to eat that, well, then there's the moral argument. But even from a communal perspective, one of the things I loved about this documentary is it showed the effects of having animal agriculture on just our community. I mean, there was a section, let me just briefly show you this before I wrap up, where a family over here that lived in a pig farm area, just the effect this would have on the quality of their life, the amount of diseases that they'd be affected by, just the overall aesthetics of the environment, how it polluted the air. It was unbearable living in this environment. And because they had to live in this environment, because people had made the decision that they obviously want to consume animal products, I mean, they had to suffer.
Not a smoker, not a drinker. And it's not in his lungs. It's in his lymph nodes. Because if you live here and saw the way they do, you wouldn't eat no pork. Well, I don't eat bacon because I know where it comes from. When they die, they go into a box and they decompose because they swell from sweat from the heat. A truck come and pick them up, take them to the processing plant in Rose Hill, ground them up into feed, and feed it back to the hogs. If I come out this door, if he's spraying there, it's gonna come in my face. It hit you right in the face. Smell like something that you have never smelled before. It smells worse than a dead body. It's the family graveyard. I have my grandmother out there, my sisters, my brothers. When we go to the funeral, he used to spray.
During the funeral?
During the funeral, yes. During the funeral. Yeah, he sprayed. And when the people come, everybody be closing their nose up, saying how it stank. They can want to have a cookout on Sunday, he'll spray.
Do you think he does it on purpose?
I think so.
So this woman lives in an area where they have obviously a lot of pig farming, and she's talking about how this affects her quality of life, how she's seen an increase in so many diseases, sinus problems, so many diseases I don't even know the names of, and just the general quality of life has resulted in so many of her friends, family members dying. And because she realizes just the effect of this thing, she's made the decision not to eat pigs. But it shows that this whole health thing, it's not just about your personal health, but it's about communal health. When we're, as a society, and this is kind of taking it from a more meta approach, that when you're advocating for this kind of diet, for this kind of lifestyle, let's say a lifestyle where we have animal agriculture and we're killing these animals, I mean, beyond the immorality of obviously taking the life of these animals, I mean, just the fact that if you care about your family, you care about your own community, this thing is ruining the community on an environmental level, ruining their environment, and thus, of course, ruining their health. And then, of course, you think about the detrimental effect this has on their own health. It's a decision that can't just be limited to your own self. Anyway, just another thing I wanted to cover in regards to this documentary. Let's see, we've covered the nutritional aspect, we've covered the detrimental effects in the community. And another thing that I have to talk about is how a lot of people have this idea that their doctors would tell them if there was some detrimental effect of having animal products. Well, the problem is that these doctors don't know. I mean, there was a bill apparently in the United States that people tried to put across to increase the amount of hours doctors had to devote towards just educating themselves about basic nutrition. And whereas I'm not in favor of any government legislation that is forcing someone to do anything for that matter. I'm a voluntarist, unless of course it's forcing them to behave in accordance to fucking morality. I'm not in favor of government forcing doctors to have to undergo any kind of education. But the fact that so many doctors, in regards to a bill simply trying to get doctors to learn about health every couple of years, so many of the doctors came up and decided to vote against this bill, saying that they didn't have the time and energy for it. It just shows you the nature of the entire industry, that doctors are not really concerned about preventing these illnesses. They're not concerned, because we all know that one of the best things that you can do from a very intuitive level to prevent yourself from undergoing disease is to watch what you take into yourself. As Hippocrates said many thousands of years ago, let your medicine be your food and your food be your medicine. We all know that diet is one of the best ways to prevent yourself from illnesses, but because the industry is not about prevention, it is about solving the problem. Solving the problem not at the roots, but at the leaves, at the branches. Oh, you have this disease. You have a buildup of plaque in your arteries. Oh, well, let's perform open heart surgery and get the shit out of you. Oh, I'm not going to tell you that by you consuming to eat animal products, that's going to bring about the problem again. Let's just let you come here in another couple of years, and we'll give you the same treatment because I can make more money out of you. Rather than telling you that the best thing to do is to watch what you're putting into yourself. Rather than telling you that the best thing to do is to exercise. But look, there are many things that were covered in this documentary, but I would say the most beautiful thing that the makers of this documentary did was they covered the conspiracy around our health, around our food choices. So, kudos, namaste to the makers of What the Health. Highly recommend everyone checking out this documentary. In fact, I would invite every single person. In fact, I'm gonna pose a challenge to myself actually. Anyone that shares this video or likes this video, in fact, anyone that likes this video, for every like that I receive, I'm going to do a push-up. So in a week's time, I'm going to do the amount of push-ups represented in the amount of likes that I've gotten from this video. Ladies and gentlemen, freaks and geeks, please, please, please watch What the Health. It is without a doubt one of the best documentaries I've ever seen, uncovering one of the greatest conspiracies that we're currently immersed in. The matrix, as I like to say, that has been pulled over the eyes of so many people on this planet in regards to the consequences of our diet. Peace out, keep it real. This is the Crystal Journey. Until next time. Ow!
Yes, I.